So firstly, Valentino, welcome to England. The sun is out today, better than yesterday. Obviously, you started work with Automobili Lamborghini in 1968, and you've driven more miles than anyone else I could think of with these cars. And really, I suppose that started with one of the cars here, the Miura. Please tell us about your time at Automobili Lamborghini.
Well, I started, as you said, in 1968. It was my first job after the school, and I was looking for a job without knowing what a Lamborghini was. And I started as an apprentice, working on a car, cleaning the floors, helping the old mechanics. I really started from the bottom. And I was very lucky on those times to meet Ferruccio Lamborghini personally. He was the one in charge of everything at the company. It was a small company, a small family growing every day, and it has been a great pleasure to work, and I'm very happy and very proud, to be here representing Lamborghini.
And Ferruccio, we heard that Lamborghini started because of a feud between Enzo Ferrari and an upset over the clutch in Ferruccio's Lamborghini Ferrari. How much of that is true? How much of that is myth?
Well, I think it's almost everything true, because Ferruccio Lamborghini, I remember, he bought a Ferrari, a white Ferrari for his wife, and he was used to drive this car to take customers, coming to the company, to the tractor company, to sign big contract. And Ferruccio, unfortunately, he damaged the clutch a couple of times. And once he found out that the clutch was the same fitted on a small tractor model, he was very upset because he realized that he paid a lot of money to replace the clutch when it was the same part fitted on his tractor. And he started yelling, and one day he met Enzo Ferrari, and he told him, "You built your beautiful cars with my tractor parts." And the fight started. And Enzo Ferrari told him, "You are a tractor driver, you are a farmer, you shouldn't complain driving my cars." And Ferruccio Lamborghini told him, "I will show you how to make sport good cars." This is what Ferruccio Lamborghini always said to everybody. We have interviews on TV, still black and white on Italian TV, and then he's telling this story sitting on a Miura, smoking a cigarette, which was typical from Ferruccio. And I mean, he's a legend, but I think he's also.
And he strikes me as, obviously you worked very close with him as you progressed through the company. He strikes me as a very strong-willed man. Yeah, is that right?
He was a really charismatic. He was a man that to work with him was one of those guys gives you power and gives you motivation. It was a pity leaving the company at night, and we all look forward to come back early morning, to start again working, because it was so much motivation and so much passion in those days. Still today, but on those days it was very special.
As you said, he was an industrialist, so it was the tractors, I think, heating, and also even helicopters at one point. But this was this started off as a solution to his problems in a way.
Well, actually, he started with the tractors. After the war, he thought that it was good to build something for the farmers, and with the Italian government help, he found out the way to get money from the government, because our area on those times was called depressed area from the Italian government, so he could get money from the government to build companies and to employ people. And this is how he started, very clever, with no one lira on his pocket. And he started, and he found an empire in a few years, because he built a big tractor company, and then heating system, and then hydraulic system, burners. I mean, it was a period of time where he told me at least 6,000 family working and eating because he was giving work to everybody.
But then the workforce was unionised as well. There was a big union because it was government funded. Did that cause problems, or did that help?
Well, Ferruccio Lamborghini always fought with the union, you know. was typical, and especially on those times we remember the famous autumn '68, hot autumn '68 it's called, where it was a lot of fight between industrials and union, especially in Bologna, because you know our area, Emilia Romagna, was considered the most red area in Italy. So it was a lot of fight, let's say, but I think at the end there was a positive fight and a constructive fight for everybody.
And that passion from that area leads to all the different cars in that area then?
Well, let's say for some reason which I really still didn't understood why, we have something that makes us building beautiful cars and very special cars, you know.
And you've had a car named after you now, the Valentino Balboni edition Gallardo. But is that your favourite, or is the Miura your favourite? Do you have a favourite?
Well, I would say every Lamborghini is my favourite, you know. I was so lucky and I'm so proud that I worked on all those cars. If I have to tell you a name, I would say the Miura, because Miura is the car I became a test driver with the Miura. Is a car I started working with the Miura and with the 350 400 GT. From the emotional point of view, is definitely the car that it's on my heart, because it's my first love. You know, imagine 22 years old being on a road as an official Lamborghini test driver, you know, with a Miura is something that you can't forget.
Well, we've got a Miura behind us. It was Justin de Villeneuve's car, who was the manager of Twiggy, the model. So I think this has seen a lot of different life through the 70s. Yeah. And maybe we can have a look at that car with you.
Sure, it will be a pleasure.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Let's go have a look.
Well, definitely, you know, when we developed this car, still today, from the technical point of view, imagine a rear transverse engine, which includes, in a small block, includes engine, transmission, differential, everything is in a small block. And you know, he gave a lot of result. I mean, he was he ended up a very good car to drive, very well balanced, because the weight is practically in the middle. And I tell you, driving this car on the road makes such a feeling, because you see this huge front bonnet, you know, slightly moving when you go high speed. And
okay, so the front slightly unsettles, but you can still place the wheels by the shape very accurately for getting the turn in. And
definitely.
Does it become? I heard things about when it's low on fuel, it can become lighter on the nose because the fuel tank is towards the front. Is that right? Or?
No, I don't say. I mean, this is something that came out, you know, from somebody, but we never face this kind of problem. You know, the car is balanced, well balanced, and when you go fast, the tendency of this car is to sit a little bit down in front and lift on the back. So you know, it's a good compromise. I mean, we never faced big problem.
Okay, and then again, even the details here in terms of the handles and you know, this characteristic swoop which creates the bullhorn with both open.
Exactly.
It's wonderful design, and it was a very young team that worked on the design. Yes.
Yes. It was engineer Dallara and engineer Stanzani, with my friend Pedrazzi and Bevini, the designer of the car. And you know, and Bob Wallace was the main test driver who set the car. And I think they did a great job, because you know, this car is an icon on a car world, on an exotic world, and this is a car that made Lamborghini Ferruccio so popular and so strong. You know, with this car we gave a lot of headaches to our competitors.
But again, it's very compact inside. It's you know, you understand when you see this with a modern car how cars have grown in size with safety equipment and everything else. But that's part of the joy of driving this, because it is so pure. Yes.
Yes, this is really a pure car to drive. The feeling, the reaction you get from this car are so instinctive, genuine, natural. You know, it really makes you smiling. The car makes you feeling comfortable, pleasant to drive. You know, still today after 40 years, when I drive a Miura, you know, my heart. I need to take a few minutes only to enjoy driving the car, and then I look for my work, which is setting, which is controlling everything. But I mean, the pleasure of driving this car still today is huge.
What would have been your office, I guess?
Yes, this is my working place, my working office, and I tell you, look at this car still today. You know, these huge, big instruments, revs counter, speedometer, and you know, you have everything under control, easy, simple, but extremely efficient. And you know, the pleasure of the 5-speed gear, which is amazing. You know, typical for a Miura, you have really to be strong, engaging and disengaging gears.
So yeah, the metal gates, you have to be very purposeful in terms of selecting the gear. But also, is the clutch heavy, or is it?
No, I would say, I mean, the clutch is quite heavy because it has to work and manage a lot of horsepower and weight. But you know, it's okay. I mean, everything is pleasant. It's easy, makes you feeling very, very, I mean, comfortable.
And as you say, everything is functional. You've got all your feedback here from the voltage, the temperature of the oil, the pressure, and yeah, the two most important things: the revs and the speed. So, in terms of this car, would you have driven? I guess would you have driven every Miura that was produced?
I would say a lot of them. Yes, I would say a lot of them. Because I remember me and another test driver taking care of the Miura and the Spadas during the production, and I think, yeah, I am very happy and proud to say that I drove maybe 80% of the Miura.
And as I say, the car still is a testament to the work at Lamborghini, the work of the design team, because it still looks very modern amongst more modern cars.
Definitely. Still today, you know, you go everywhere with this car, and you know, you are surrounded by people, everybody. As soon you stop, everybody asks, everybody wants to know, everybody is so let's say, shows so much enthusiasm and pleasure of looking at this car.
And you couldn't get much nearer to the action. Literally, it is right by your ear.
Yes, exactly. Very, very close to your ear, so you can't miss the sound of this engine, which is you know, how do you say? You know, it makes your skin.
It makes the hairs on your arms stand up. Yeah,
exactly.
It's, you know, and that must have helped you being test driver. You know, you can immediately tell if the engine is running good and if there's a problem, because there is no bulkhead. It's just right behind you.
Definitely, you know, I mean, you sit on the engine very easily. In easy words, you sit on the engine and you have direct contact with the engine, with everything. You know.
And you are slap bang in the middle as well, so you can feel every twitch and every move of the wheels. Yeah.
Very nice. I mean, this was a very successful car, and I would say a very friendly car.
So already you can feel it's really hot in here, and it's very compact. Tell us about, you were saying about the radiators up front, also possibly a problem, or not a problem?
No, it's not a problem. Let's say is a characteristic of this car. You know, first of all, we built very few with air conditioning, but you know, the problem of this car is because we have the front grille, the front radiator, and you know, the air flows through those grills, and you know, if you drive with an open window, definitely the heat flows inside the car. So you know, it's quite hot, and also you have the engine which is exactly on your back, on your shoulder. So you know, everything makes the car very hot.
Yeah. So yeah, hot from there, and then hot air coming in from the radiators. I didn't even think about the radiators being up front and the airflow there, but you're right.
No, this is a technical specs of this car, but still, you know, makes the car pleasant to drive, and you don't really care about the heat.
It's a wonder of packaging. There's a few other cars that are also very tightly packed. You know, there's a Jarama here and a Celera Miura. Again, it was all about keeping it compact, lightweight, but still with that V12 engine somewhere in there. So I think we're going to look at those.
All right.
So an extreme now, from the Miura to the LM2. Tell us about these cars. What brought this about?
Well, this was for us a huge experience and a beautiful, let's say, change from the normal, typical, very low cars to this one. I remember when I used to test and develop this car at the beginning, I was feeling in a different world being sitting so high. And you know, the technology and the way of developing this car is completely different. This was an idea to have a military version of this car, transformed, modified for road use. We built 301 cars like this, and you know, it was for Lamborghini a good let's say, success, because we entered on the market and we opened a door. And you know, this is practically the origin of the modern SUVs. You know?
It is, but I've seen one of these recently being restored fully and stripped down to the tubular chassis, and still the racing theories apply in terms of everything is triangulated, everything is specific, you know, double suspension, everything. Right. It's sort of an SUV, but still with Lamborghini very much in the soul, if you like.
Lamborghini personality and heart is still here, and you know, the power, the way of you know, the road holding of this car is amazing. You know, still 3 tons and more. But good handling.
Good handling, 3 tons, fast. Fuel consumption, I think, is about the only bad thing, isn't it?
Well, I agree. This is maybe the only negative aspect of this thing, especially on a carbureted version. You know, the carbureted version burns a lot of petrol, definitely. This is a fuel injected, and this is one of the last we built. And it's much more, you know, so, I mean, it's not so much petrol. It's a little bit better.
Yeah, but not exactly good for doing the shopping. But the flat roof, it was about a machine gun, and because originally, was it not going to be for patrolling a desert border in Libya or something?
Yes, the origin of this
car. And that didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen for other reason, but the origin was to build a military version. And it was preset with a gun on the rear, you know, pickup.
Yes.
For hunting or for going to patrol the border in Saudi Arabia countries.
Wow. And it is, you know, just you know, my car's next to it, and again, just comparing the Spider to this, it's. Spike always parks next to me to stop me going catching the sun, I think. But yeah, if we could, Spike, that would be great. If we can. And again, it really is spacious in there in terms of. But again, there's this huge tunnel though. Yeah. Is that needed, or is that design?
Well, no, this is something needed because the frame keeps on, and the tunnel is part of the. I mean, it integrates the structure of the chassis, and also under this one we have the gearbox, we have the transfer case, and the rear differential. So I mean, everything is done with a special purpose. Everything has a meaning.
Yeah, so it's there for the purpose, for the function, and to house all the mechanics.
Exactly.
Because this stripped down, you know, you look here and you think actually it's not that spacious for such a huge car.
Well, but we have a huge gearbox,
yes,
a huge transfer case which is big, and also, as I said, the differential, because we have also, let's say, 5 reducted gears.
Okay.
Slow speed gear, low speed gears.
So for hill climb and for hill descent and things like this. So
you climb the wall with this car with reducted gear and 4-wheel drive, you can climb a wall, you know. Easy.
So how would you have tested these cars? Were they shipped abroad, or is there a mountain in Bologna?
No, first we set the suspension and the car, let's say, on a normal roads or off roads on our region. And then we went many times on Arabian countries to test the car on the desert, because this was the main purpose of this car, to be used on a desert. In fact, Pirelli developed special tire for sand tire for this car, and you know, we set everything to be 160 km/h fast on the sand, which nobody could do before.
Because this hasn't actually got this hasn't got the sand rim, but I think the one at Sant'Agata Bolognese has this special rim that comes out.
It's a special lip that keeps the sand inside, just to give more traction.
And again, that must be now very rare in itself, just as a tyre, or is it run by Pirelli as a special small batch?
Let's say that we have still original tires as an option, but those ones, the modern ones, are, let's say, much more performing on actual modern conditions. You know, nobody needs to go today on the sand with this car. It's more a collector item. Consider 301 units built worldwide.
Yes. And this engine would be virtually, is it a detuned version of what was in the Diablo, or it's not the Countach, it would be the Diablo, yes?
This is, let's say, a little bit detuned engine, because it's a 5.2 liter, but it's basically the same engine on the Diablo. It turns the other way, but it's the same engine, yeah.
Yes, because obviously it's mounted differently, and the way that it interlinks, like we said about the Miura, that was transverse, and then you see it in other cars where it's longitudinal.
Exactly. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, again, it's great looking around the car with you.
Enjoy driving it if you want. will be nice. You know, we'll be definitely under spot. You will be spotted.
You definitely get noticed, and everyone thinks on the motorway as well. Everyone thinks you were far nearer, because they do not understand how big the car is
and how fast
the car is. So it's fascinating to see this. So just moving in. Basically, we have a road car. So, are we saying virtually identical in terms of engine?
No. Let's say the concept of the V12 is here and there, but performance, torque is completely different. I mean, this is a very fast and powerful car, where the power is let's say, must be in a certain range. Here we need much more torque, and this is, I mean, the V12 concept is the same, but the performance is completely different.
And again, it's then all about the gearing and the way that everything,
weight, distribution, rear ratio, everything. I mean,
but then we also said about Ferruccio earlier on, and about how he wanted a grand touring and a luxury car, but also a fast car. We're actually just to our left is the Espada. I guess, does this sort of encompass what Ferruccio envisaged originally in terms of a grand touring luxury car?
Ferruccio always considered the Espada the Italian Rolls Royce. He wanted to have a 4-seat car, a sport car based on a V12 cylinder engine, 4 liter. And you know, I think you know, with the Bertone cooperation, the result is still today amazing. So it's a very comfortable 4-seater, powerful, and it's such a pleasure to drive this car. You know, this huge bonnet, you know, makes you feeling like.
It's not only long, but it's also very wide.
Consider that here we have a 12-cylinder engine, and you know, it's a big engine, but you know, I think it's a nice, let's say, compromise between between overall dimension of the car and you know, the comfortable inside.
Now, we saw as well the full glass door version that was driven at the Monaco Grand Prix by Prince Rainier and Princess Grace. How much did Lamborghini try to keep the concepts that were being put out by Bertoni true? Because obviously that was a huge gull wing double glass door, which at the time was an engineering feat in itself, you know, and this kind of echoes it, but not exactly.
Well, let's say the Marshall, there was a prototype Prince Rainier used in Monte Carlo for the Formula 1 Grand Prix. Was a prototype, was a show car, was a studio car. That car had a 6-cylinder engine, which is practically half Euro engine. So it was just running, you know, just to go all around the track one time and that's it. And I remember Ferruccio Lamborghini was sweating because he wanted, you know, he was afraid that the car couldn't make one lap, and he was very, very afraid because, you know, as Formula 1 Grand Prix in Monte Carlo, live in television, you know, if the car stops, on the track.
The last thing you want is Prince Rainier being stranded halfway around by the swimming pool or something.
And then, based on that, let's say, concept car, they decided to develop the Espada, which is, I think, it was a lot of success. We built 1,150 cars like this.
And there were three variations.
Three
Series
versions. First version, second version, and this one, which is the last version, Series 3, which is definitely the most, let's say, from the technical point of view, the most sophisticated. You know, better air conditioning, better cooling, the more comfortable suspensions, you know, different rim design. And I think it was a very good car also for Lamborghini.
And just looking down sort of behind us, we've got everything sort of here, Silhouette, Parama, Countach, Diablo, you know, you name it, it's here. So, and of course yourself as well.
Yeah,
so it's great to see this and to see Lamborghini at their best.
It is nice to be here because, you know, the UK Lamborghini Owners Club always takes the oldest car, vintage cars, Urraco, Espada, which is very difficult and very rare to see in different Lamborghini clubs. You know, everywhere you go on a Lamborghini club meeting, you have 80% modern car, Diablo, Murcielago, Aventador, Gallardo. Today here we have mainly all vintage Lamborghini, which are the real soul of Lamborghini. Let's say they are the real pure Lamborghini.
So does it make you feel young again?
Yes, definitely, definitely. You know, being here with those cars remembers me old times, remembers me the pleasure of having been there when you know, we built those cars and we developed those cars.
Well, one thing I can say for certain is you've also given a lot of people pleasure as well with what you've done and with what Automobili Lamborghini have done.
It is really rewarding, you know, to see every minute how much people appreciate what we do, how they care about the car. You know, talking to different owners, they show me the history of the car, they do research, they know everything about. And it is, I mean, I really understand how important is what Lamborghini did over the years.
Valentino, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for everything you've done. And
hello to everybody.
It's enjoy your weekend at Silverstone.
Thank you. I will definitely do.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
And you're going to sign my car as well.
Yeah.